Masechet Hullin Daf Mem Vav Amud Aleph, 6 lines down. Be'ofa, the spinal cord of a bird. Rabbi Yonah says Lamata min ha'agathayim, the spinal cord which makes if it becomes torn, it becomes a trefa. That's only below the wings. There's a Kishmarashke says Ad ben agapayim, only between the wings. Ra'ula Avakamina Kmei Rapaz Ben Pazi, I was in front of Ben Pazi. The eye to the Kmei Aufan, only a bird which they had a problem with the spinal cord. But Ad ben Hagapayim, he checked the wings. Shah bin Rusiya, they went to the Nasi, they come Azil, and he went to um they summoned him there and he didn't check the rest. But then I don't know. I don't know if he stopped checking after the wings because you're not supposed to, but or maybe he didn't check because he had to run out, but he was gonna. Okay. So we leave off in a safek. Nitla kaved Amrishan said if the liver was removed and nothing left is taref. Hanishtim in a klum kishra, but there was something left over because she afakat lo have excited, not excited. More says that Mishnah says Nitla kaved mishter mina kazai kishra. If the liver is removed and a kazait remains, it's kasher, seeming you have to have a kazait, not just a minimal amount. The more says Lamar said Bakashanasya. Harabi Hiyab, Harabi Shuman Barabi. The first opinion is Rabbi Hiyab, which says you need a minute amount. And the second opinion is Rabbi Shimon Rabbi, who holds you have to have a kazait. Kia Rabbi Hiyab Zarikla, because Rabbi Hiyab, when he would have a liver of the slaughtered animal, he would chuck it. He wouldn't eat it. Rabbi Shimon Rabbi Mavila, and Rabbi Shimon Rabbi would dip it into sauce and eat it. He would think it's healthy. I remember who would eat it, who would not. Ashirin Mekamzin, the wealthy are cheaper and the wealthy are more careful with their money. That's what Rabbi Shimon Rabbi, who was very wealthy, would be quote unquote more cheap and eat it. That's how I remember who did what. Okay. So we see from here, it's machalka, but not the liver is good. There's a royal army that came to Puntita. Arakur above it, Rabbi Yosef ran away. Pagab Rabbi Yosef found them. Marlo, he told them. He says to them, you guys are running away. Learn this halakha. A kazait of liver, the Hachmi mentioned, has to be next to the gallbladder. The liver piece has to remain next to the gallbladder. No, next to its vitals. Somewhere it's next to the diaphragm where the other organs are, not by the gallbladder. Okay. Therefore, in order to do according to both opinions, in order to do kosher, the minimum amount is to have two kizayits, one by the gallbladder, one by the diaphragm. By the kizayit is spread out all over the place instead of one spot. Or it's like a strip of liver. By Ravashi, kizayit merudama. What if the remaining olive amount of kizayit is flattened out? Gemara says teku. All the answers we don't know necessarily this. Ba'amin Rabbi Zera Kamina Bi'ami. Midillah kaved memoraba tershieh ma. What's the if the liver became loose from where it's attached, but it's still connected? Somehow loose. The Gemara says, Amarale, the dudes any of them, I don't know halakha regarding loosage. According to the opinion, it says it has to be next to the gallbladder. It's still there. Either on the Marshi Haika, it's by diaphragm, it's still there. So therefore, it should be kasher. Next part of Mishnah. The lung was punctured, it's taref. Rabbi Shmuel Barasi, the Amrei Karma Ilah. They all said that this is referring to the outer membrane of the lung. Even that makes it taref. Even if the inner one's still good. Amrei Karmatan, other people say, no, the inner one. Mar said, I remember who says which one. The lower one is in the Mishnah because it says the rose-colored shirt is where the lung lies. That's a way to remember that and the lower membrane of the lung is red. Now, obviously, in if the outer one is punctured and the inner one is not, tata'a magin, and the inner one protects it from losing air. A lung that was peeled, kahaina sumka, like a red date, meaning you found the whole thing now to be red because it was peeled. Kishra as kasher, so we see you don't need the outer one according to Rava. Now, in Kifta Avlo Kiva, let's say the inner one's punctured, but the outer one's not. Magin or Magin, is it protected from the air escaping or not? Pligi, but Ahmadabin is Mahloket. Haram Rado Magin, Haram Magin, one opinion says yes, one opinion says no. The Achal Halacha is Magin Gerizet, it does protect it according to Yosef. It says, in a lung that is making a noise like a deflating air, like hissing air as if air is escaping. Yeah, dinan hecha the avsha. If you know where the spot is coming from, if you matvinin ala the gadka uruka ogila, you could put a feather or spit or a straw to see there. Even if it flutters, yani you see the bubble or something moving from there, that means you know the air is coming out from there and it's tarif. V'ilo kishon it's not, and it's kasher. Either then the heichel you don't know where the sound's coming from. Might either mitchel to demay b'shurei bring a bucket of warm water. Umatvina the begava and put the lung inside. The hamim lokav you can't do hot water because that will make it shrivel. Begari lo menarshi if you don't use cold water because then it will make it stiff. Elamatvina b'shurei you put it into lukewarm water, but afhinana and then you inflate the lung. Even if there's bubbling, that means escaping, and then it's tarif. V'lo if not bubbling kasher. But and the reason why it's kasher because it must be the inner one's punctured, not the outer one. That's the air just making the sound, just escaping in between. Okay. We said earlier. Mara Baraba says, lung that's peeled like a red date is kosher. Amar Abba says also says, lung that became red, like the tissue became bloody. It's still kosher. Cool trefa, but it's completely red. It's tereif. It's still my time. Why is it partial? It's okay. The higher the better because it's heal. Cool, and I'm not if that's the case. Even if the entire thing red became heal also. Miltanam the says, there's no isur for making things bruised like rodents and stuff unless you actually bleed. But if they don't bleed, it's still kosher because it must be under the skin. So therefore, same thing with the lung. If it didn't break through and it's just red, then it should have been it's not considered a bruise. Where it says not a puncture, it must be just a bruise. Maybe you want to say they should compare it to the H seam. It says if blood is collecting under the skin, even though it did not escape, it's a bruise. That's chayav on Shabbat for bruising. Yach is the case. I feel then if that be the case, that be considered like a puncture by a lung, then even partial would be a problem. There's no difference. Amar Rav Nachal Actually, I've said instead of fine. Long that dried up, it's taref, partially. How much is considered partial? Be taref. Amar Rav Papa Mishmei Rava, Kidesh Tiparech B'Sipron. It's so dry that it crumbles when you press it with the fingernail. Kiman who's according to? Kid said Benam Mushlam. It must be according to Rezon Mushlam. Ten Rez says Esvihi V'Shah. What's considered dried up regarding for a bechor animal that the ear would be considered a dried up ear that would be considered a mum, therefore it loses kedusha. Pierce it and no blood comes out. You have shakdish, it's going to dry so much that when you press it with your fingernail, it crumbles. That's our proof for the lung as well. The Gemara says, no, even Hachmi would agree with there. In the case of the Bechor's ear, which is exposed to the outside wind, won't become healthy again. But the lung, which is not exposed to the outside air, will become healthy again. Therefore, it doesn't need to bleed. Along the surface is full of these scabs looking like items, that's sores. Uchme, if they're black, or they're different colors, kishiras kasher. Marmimar, mashmi derava. En makifin be'u'ai. We don't compare punctures in regard to the blisters of the lungs. So if there's a blister puncture, which was found in the blister, the place, we don't assume that the blister happened with his nail or knife. And therefore we're not sure when it happened. And therefore we have to be hoshesh that it's not kosher. Now, later on we're going to see that there are punctures, you're not sure when it happened, you gotta do a test. However, over here we see this is not, the test is for punctures, but not for blisters. In the case of two pieces of the lung, two lobes that are found to be sticking to each other, let lobedika, you can't check it. Because the fact that it's stuck, it makes it taref. It only applies when the two lobes are not next to each other that are connected. Aval, but if they are the lobes that are next to each other, the lungs, the two lobes that are attached are from the same, connected to each other, they naturally touch each other usually. That's the way they group. It's kasher and it's not. Tarev. Rachalam min min.